Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. Omagwa community of Rivers State protests alleged extrajudicial killing of its native. SERAP sues President Tinubu, demands prosecution of contractors involved in 167 billion naira failed project. Calm returns to the DRC as Congolese and pro-Rwandan forces agree to cease fire. Details shortly. And now the news in detail. Demonstrations broke out today, Sunday, in Omagwa community in Ikwere local government area of Rivers State. The demonstrations followed the death of one Chukwuma Egbule, a native of the community who was allegedly shot and killed by a policeman attached to the Omagwa division of the Rivers State Police Command. The protesters initially carried the body of the slain youth to the Omagwa Divisional Police Station, where they intended to deposit it. They were, however, resisted and repelled by the policemen on the ground there, and they then decided to block the road in protest, causing heavy gridlock on the busy highway which leads to the airport and to Owerri, Imo State. When contacted, the spokesperson for the command, Superintendent Grace Iringekoko, said the command is aware of the situation. She said the corpse of the slain youth has been deposited at the morgue while the police officers involved have been detained pending an investigation into the incident. News Central's Austin Azu joins us live from the community. Hello, Austin. Hope you're safe. Please go ahead and tell us what you have observed so far.
Of course, sure, I'm safe. We are at the community where the accident happened this morning. Earlier this morning, this particular road you are seeing here was blocked, and vehicles coming from Owerri couldn't gain access into the road that is leading down to Port Harcourt. Currently, this is Ikwere local government area of Port Harcourt. Some of the stories, some of the things we heard about what happened today regarding to the middle-aged man that was brushed by the security bullet, police bullet. We heard that he's a father of 6, and he's the wife at the moment. Everybody in the community seems to be mourning because of what had happened to their son. And however, they were so angry to an extent they have to bring the corpse. They have to deposit the corpse at the police station. The police station is very far away from here due to the security issues at the moment. We couldn't move further than this because obviously we don't know much about this environment. But from what we gathered so far, that because of what happened, so the people are quite apprehensive and they intend to raise down the police station. But the security agencies, the police precisely, were able to repair them, and however, they were able to, put a stop to whatever intention they had. But from what we gathered so far, that the happy police officer who drew the trigger has been arrested by the Nigeria police, and of course is cooling off at the moment at the headquarters, and investigation is ongoing according to what the PPRO said. That's Grace. That however, that after the investigation, probably they will make every other thing known to the press. So the question is,
please go ahead
what
and tell
happened?
us about the protest. What time did it start? How bad was the protest, and has calm been restored in the area at the moment?
Yes, normalcy has been restored at this particular area. You can see that we have some movement. The road is no longer, being congested, unlike what we had earlier in the morning. Earlier in the morning, a stretch about 3 kilometers was actually, was actually on standstill, so nobody could actually move. Everywhere was total shut down, so on and so forth. But normalcy has returned to the community, and everyone seems to be going about his normal businesses. So hopefully by tomorrow or thereabouts, the police will be able to tell us more details unraveling what happened at the community and the way forward.
right, Austin, we'll definitely reconnect with you tomorrow for more updates on this. Thank you so much for the update. Now, away from that, the Kano state government has ordered an investigation into the killing of protesters by security personnel during a recent demolition exercise in the state. The governor made this known to citizens when he visited the Rimin Zakara community, Ungogo local government area of the state, to meet with the families of those killed during the incident. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It all started when 3 protesters were allegedly shot dead, with several others injured by security operatives, as officials of the state demolished properties at Rimin Zakara in the Ugongo local government area of the state. The state government had ordered the demolition of the properties after the Kano Urban Planning and Development Authority said that they had built on a portion of land belonging to the Bayero University. The episode resulted to a clash between residents and the state government officials, thus leading to fatalities. This prompted the visit of the governor Abba Yusuf to the scene of the incident.
The youths who were not informed prior to the arrival of the security forces mobilized themselves and tried to defend their farmlands. And unfortunately, we recorded some incidents. 3 young men died on the spot. Many of them were injured.
The governor offered heartfelt condolences and sympathized with the families of the bereaved, informing them that the state government will support the families of the 3 disease victims left behind.
This problem has been on for the last 30 years. 30 years. And since we came on board, nobody has ever come to inform the governor that there was a lingering problem between the host community and the management of Bayero. Now that this has happened, I want to assure you that by the grace of Allah, we will nail it in the bud.
The governor frowned at the use of live ammunition on unarmed protesters, saying such actions will no longer be tolerated. In Kano for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration has assured residents of efforts being put in place to end banditry and kidnapping from suspected criminal elements resident in neighboring states. Now, the Commissioner of Police for the FCT spoke to newsmen after a Security Council meeting with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and sister security agencies. The Commissioner says that despite successes already recorded in reducing crime in the capital, security agencies have been placed on high alert and will do all they can to end insecurity in Abuja.
We finally decided that we are going to involve security operatives and other states bordering the Federal Capital Territory in joint meeting, joint collaboration, and joint operation, so that we can jointly have outlook on how to police our various states. We do not want incidents of a particular state embarking on this clearance operation and the insurgents will be moving towards other areas of the nation. We have been able to tackle the issue of one chance that was giving us a lot of problems, and as I speak with you, clearance are going on in all the areas of the Federal Capital Territory. The town is safe. Everybody should go about their lawful businesses.
Still on insecurity, for more than 20 years, some parts of Plateau State have been ravaged by violence, leaving the once peaceful state a ghost of itself. However, in recent times, efforts to ensure the return of peace in the area appear to be yielding results. Our correspondent, Chizoba Nyongwe, in this report, traces the genesis of the crises and what is being done to restore normalcy in Plateau State.
Plateau State, made up of 17 local government areas, are mostly agrarian, had been known for its peaceful and serene nature. Sadly, in 2001, that peaceful atmosphere was shattered with the first strike of violence, which has lasted over 20 years. The factors that gave rise to the violence ranged from ethno-religious to political and farmer-herder crises, resulting in cattle rustling and poisoning, destruction of farmlands and killings. Journalists too were at risk.
God will take control. And I'm watching right now, I'm in Mangu, believing that
the violence forced thousands of people out of their ancestral homes into internally displaced people's camps. For many years, efforts by the military and paramilitary agencies deployed to end the carnage yielded little results, especially in the flashpoint areas of Mangu, Bokos, Barkinladi, Riom, and Bassa local government areas. However, the coming of Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, the immediate past General Officer commanding 3 Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, appeared to have turned the tide.
I'm staying here. I'm going to be here for as long as it takes. I don't have any other thing.
What can be termed relative peace currently reigns in the state as people now go about their lawful businesses.
The fight against criminality is like a system that we all have a part to play and collectively fight against. I am glad to observe that we have derived the dividend of that seminar as clashes and farm destructions reduced by over 60% this year based on available statistics.
Meanwhile, the Special Task Force Operation Safe Haven remains in place under the new leadership of Major General Folusho Oyinlola. Also on the ground are Operation Rainbow, an independent security outfit under retired Brigadier General Gagjishipi and the State Commissioner of Police, who are ramping up measures to sustain the fragile peace in the state. The advice of the State Commissioner of Police to the recently deployed 283 police constables to the state is also expected to help ensure peace through community policing.
This crisis has been on for over 2 decades. We can't continue like this. This is not the way life is meant to be. So we must put in everything that we can to ensure that peace is achieved finally. And all this situation where you always have troops here and there because people cannot live peacefully must come to an end amicably, and we will achieve that.
State policing does not mean we're doing away with the federal police. Everyone is complementing each other. So we still need the federal police, but then again, we need the state police more often than not, because we believe the state police, which will be comprised of indigenes from here and people who live here, will know the state more, will have the interest of the state more, will want to sacrifice more for their state.
Don't abuse the rights of the people you are serving, and don't put your hands into corruption, extortion. Is that clear?
Indeed, the efforts that have resulted in the restoration of normal life for these residents need to be sustained for meaningful development to take place here. And with several arrests made over the attacks, it is expected that culprits are brought to justice to serve as deterrents to others. In Jos, Plateau State for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowi.
Now let's take you to the southeastern part of the country, where a chieftain of the Ohanese Youth Council, Igboaka, was abducted by yet-to-be-identified gunmen in Owerri, the Imo state capital. Now the gunmen, numbering about 7, reportedly ambushed Igboaka within the Owerri municipality. President of Igbo National Council, Chilos Godsent, confirmed that Igboaka was abducted on Saturday evening. Now, this comes as a popular native doctor known as Akwa Okuko Tiwaraki was arrested on allegations of misleading young people with the promise of affluence through some diabolic means. Such practices have been identified by the Anambra state government as a major motivating factor responsible for the rise in kidnapping, abduction, and incessant killings in the state. Meanwhile, as Anambra state continues to battle with insecurity, some residents say certain factors are contributing to the rise in violent crimes in the state. In their opinion, a lack of viable employment to engage the huge population of youths is leading many of them to turn to crime. News Central's Chinwe Ugele has more.
Neighboring states developed to an unbelievable speed, scaring all who live in the state. A few voices cry out for adequate attention to be paid to the growing insecurity, but government apparently sees it as political distractions from opposition in the state, thereby failing to accord it the seriousness and attention it deserves.
That is the attention we have paid to it. When we are calling out the governor on insecurity, we are shouting. So that I was not just calling out the governor, I was calling the other stakeholders to join hands to call him out. If we have done this 3 years ago, or say 2 years ago, you would have known where we are.
Maybe the government has not been serious initially that they are doing now. Now the government has come out in full force to tackle the situation.
Today, there's hardly any part of the state that is free of the menace, raising questions of what exactly is the reason behind such magnitude of insecurity. Some residents of the state say beyond late rescue mission by the government, the cause cannot be far-fetched from unemployment.
People, all these graduates, they don't have job doing. You spend money training your child for 15 years. When you come out, no job. There is no job. They'll be roaming about the street.
There is yet another factor which is spreading like wildfire among the youth in the state: cultism.
So as a leader, when I came in, I checked my constituency. The number one on the list was insecurity. Where over 60 persons were killed under 3 weeks. In state capital, I represent the state capital. Young people, newly married, young family.
It's unresolved. Every day people will be dying. People will be killing each other. Our young boys will be dying. How many? In scores.
The police in Anambra State also confirm that activities of cultists have assumed a new dimension, leading to loss of lives and harm on those involved.
Also, the capital city, you can believe in me that what we normally witness here is cult-related activities, and with what Ndioka and most especially the residents of this area have done, they have given us information on these hoodlums and how they operate, and these have brought about the recent achievement we had.
While the Anambra State government continues to chase after touts to end touting in Awka and Onitsha using a task force, it may also beam its searchlight towards cultists to stem the tide of attacks and deaths recorded at every hit. In Awka for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
When we return after the break, we'll tell you about the arrest of 2 suspected drug kingpins by the NDLEA. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, 2 suspected drug kingpins have been arrested by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. They were nabbed at the Port Harcourt International Airport and Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, respectively. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi confirmed the arrest in a statement issued on Sunday, revealing that one of the suspects operates under dual identities to evade detection. He was caught at Port Harcourt Airport on February 2nd, 2025, using a Sierra Leonean passport under the name Cabo Mohammed Fode. Further investigations showed that he alternated between his Nigerian and Sierra Leonean passport for drug trafficking across Thailand, Pakistan, Iran, and West Africa. In the same vein, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Commandant General Ahmed Audi has ordered the immediate deployment of armed personnel and intelligence officers to custodial centers across the country. The move aims to bolster security at correctional facilities designated as critical national assets and prevent jailbreaks and other criminal activities. NSCDC spokesperson Babawale Afolabi stated that the deployment would complement the Nigerian Correctional Service in securing detention facilities. Now, over the past 6 years, Nigeria has experienced multiple jailbreaks with over 6,385 inmates escaping from 11 correctional centers. While 2,032 escapees have been rearrested, more than 4,285 remain at large. And now we move to the story of the Social, Economic Rights and Accountability Project, who have dragged President Bola Tinubu to court over his alleged failure to prosecute contractors who received over 167 billion naira from 31 ministries, departments and agencies for projects that were never executed. The lawsuit was filed on Friday at the Federal High Court in Lagos. In a press release signed by SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, the group urges the court to compel Tinubu to direct the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, to publicly name the contractors involved and ensure their prosecution. SERAP is also seeking a court order mandating Edun to publish details of the project, including their locations, the amounts received by each contractor, and the identities of the shareholders. According to SERAP, the 2021 audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation, published on November 13, 2024, revealed that 31 MDAs collectively paid over 167 billion naira for projects that were never carried out. A massive explosion occurred Saturday at a cooking gas station in Sabonwuse, Niger State, destroying several vehicles, goods, and foodstuff. The blast, which happened when a tanker was offloading gas at the station, sent shockwaves through surrounding communities. Our firefighters arrived hours after the explosion, which started around 11 p.m. Miraculously, there are no reports of casualties or injuries. The explosion also extended to a nearby petrol station, burning shops containing foodstuff and packed vehicles. This incident comes just weeks after a deadly petrol tanker explosion in the same state, which claimed over 100 lives, and authorities are investigating the cause of the explosion. February 17, 2025 has been set as the deadline for federal civil servants to complete their identity verification in a bid to eliminate ghost workers from the payroll. According to a memo from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, civil servants must verify their identities on the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System (IPPIS) portal to avoid salary stoppages and other sanctions. To complete the process, employees must provide their taxpayer identification number, IPPIS number, and salary account details. In 2024, President Bola Tinubu ordered the recovery of salaries paid to civil servants who had relocated abroad while still drawing wages from the government. He also directed that their supervisors and department heads be sanctioned for enabling the fraud. The federal government has expressed readiness to receive and reintegrate Nigerians affected by U.S. President Donald Trump's deportation order. Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo confirmed that about 3,690 Nigerians in the U.S. are facing deportation as Trump intensifies his crackdown on illegal immigrants. Tunji-Ojo assured that the government will support deportees, help them settle back into society, and reunite with their families. He also revealed that the federal government has secured a facility at Lagos Airport to provide medical care for deportees suffering from mental fatigue and depression. Nigeria, a nation grappling with a complex web of social and economic challenges, is also undergoing a critical period of justice reform. For years, the country's justice system has faced criticism for delays, corruption, and also a lack of access for many citizens. But recent years have seen a renewed push to address these deep-rooted issues. In this report, read from our studio, News Central's Nasir Agbalaya spoke with some lawyers in the legal community in their bid to change the narrative.
Nigeria's justice system needs reform is known to all, but these reforms are not happening fast enough. Even the Supreme Court only changed its procedural rule 1985, which was replaced by the rule 2024 recently at the end of the tenure of former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola.
It is high time. It's a welcome development. It is something that is desperately needed, and so. If you go to the Federal High Court, State High Court, various State High Court, the rules are updated, with time, because, some of these, law is dynamic, and the practice also is dynamic. Some of the things that court used to do, some 3, 4, 5 years back, today are obsolete. So you need to update the rules, to accommodate some of this innovation, especially now that there are, internet access, digital way of doing things.
But what are the things needed for the reforms to happen in the sector? It seems no single solution can fix this.
The one that's most prominent is the congestion of cases in the courts. Justice delayed is justice denied.
Training of all the key stakeholders. And when I say the key stakeholders, I mean the judges, I mean the bailiffs, I mean the anti-graft agencies. I think it borders on training and understanding the pain of the users of the system.
Some low-hanging fruits were identified that can improve justice delivery across Nigeria.
With AI, ChatGPT, and a lot of other technological solutions, if we start using them in the courts, from e-filing to the way the judges write at the moment is longhand, when we start using technology and the recording system for the judges, then a court that has maybe, let's say, 20 cases, because that's unbelievable the number of cases at times that a judge in a single day has to handle. If we employ and deploy technology, it would definitely hasten the way judges deliver their judges, and definitely it will also clear the congestion in the courts.
I think with the advent of technology, we should do a lot more. By my own assessment, I would like to think that in the use of technology, we're at about, say, 10 to 15%. Because, you hear about e-filing, but there's a backlog of cases. Assignments are not done on time. Even when those cases eventually get assigned and in court, it takes a long time for matters to be determined. Judges still take notes in longhand. Lawyers still insist that they must be taken verbatim. So a lot of things are done.
The bench is not without blame.
The judges' remuneration was recently increased. Kudos to that. What about the infrastructure? Have you seen the courtrooms with which these judges sit? How about their living condition? Judges still come to court late at 10:30, 11 on account of traffic because they live far away from the courtrooms. So the solution is not appointing more judges. No, the solution is having infrastructure that can cater for the judges that we have today.
The procedure for appointing judges is well spelled out in the various statutes that are various provisions that have been enacted for that purpose. They are regimental. The question is, do we implement, or what does it take to satisfy that criteria so you have competent persons in the bench? So when you talk about integrity is difficult to define, but you can recognize a person of integrity when you see one.
If, when all or modestly, more of these are sorted, then the administration of justice in Nigeria should be in a better state, where the average Nigerian can believe that justice can be served.
And now we move to the next story. A memorial interdenominational Thanksgiving service was held today, Sunday, for the late Herbert Chizoba and Chizi Wigwe at their hometown in Isiokpo, Ikwere local government area of Rivers State, South Nigeria. Late Herbert Wigwe, the managing director, CEO of Access Bank Group, tragically lost his life alongside his wife and son in a helicopter accident in the United States of America on Friday, February 9, 2024. News Central correspondent Austin Azu covered the memorial service and now reports.
He continues to be extolled, with many remembering him as a courageous leader, a great builder, and a man of deep affection and friendship. Family members, friends, and well-wishers of the late business mogul assembled at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Lion of Judah Parish, Isiokpo, Ikwere local government area of Rivers State, for a year memorial Thanksgiving service. Dr. Joyce Wigwe, on behalf of the family, spoke on the significance of the Thanksgiving.
I was here a year ago speaking, and it's so reassuring to see that you are still here with us. Thank you for your support.
The governor of Rivers State, represented by his deputy, encouraged the Wigwe family to continue to trust in God, as the state will continue to support the family.
And therefore, what he has asked me to say is that all of us, collectively and individually, will help to make their dreams, the dreams they had, a reality or realities.
Attention, however, shifted to the Wigwe University Auditorium, where tributes were paid to his remarkable life and legacy before leaving for the graveyard to lay the wreath. Family members and friends, including well-wishers, shared their thoughts on the late Herbert Wigwe.
How I feel, I really feel that Herbert's blood still drips. It's unbelievable. It's not something I ever dreamt. It's not something I ever thought I would ever experience.
You know, we have learned a lot, you know, so from the legacy that Herbert left, and that continues. And I think what the family are trying to do and making sure that they do is to continue the legacy and the memory of a thought leader, an inspirational leader, a great man in every sense.
It's not been an easy part. It's unfortunate people can't share your morning with you. Everybody comes months differently. People react to the same thing in different ways. But we stand as a family. We have a love for him, regardless of what anybody says. What people say, we know who he is. We share a bond that not even dare to put us apart. We have a duty. We have a duty to protect Herbert and everything that has to do with Herbert, even after death.
As the legacy of the late Herbert Wigwe continues to inspire and motivate others, his memory will surely remain cherished, enduring in the hearts of many. In Rivers State for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Peter, take that one and take it outside.
A growing number of experts and social commentators argue that woke parenting, characterized by extreme sensitivity, overprotectiveness, and strong emphasis on social justice, may be having unintended consequences on Generation Z. Is this approach leaving young people more anxious, entitled, or ill-prepared for real-world challenges? News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
The term woke parenting refers to a child-rearing approach that prioritizes social consciousness, inclusivity, and emotional well-being. Parents who adopt this style often shield their children from discomfort, advocate for trigger warnings, and encourage open discussions on issues such as race, gender, and mental health.
I'm a Gen Z by age, but I had this millennial training, and till now there are some places that normally you shouldn't even shout at me. If you shout at me, I lose everything completely. That was the upbringing. So I don't want to raise children where somebody's shouting out and they can't speak out for themselves. Meanwhile, there are still things to be put in place. So I feel like there should be a little balance.
This new generation parents are failing in their responsibility. The old parents are the actual genuine parents. They have time for their children. They tell their children real life story in such a way that the children learn from them. So the old method of parents is still the best because they give their children the right direction and what they're supposed to know for better future.
In school now, when we are going to school, our parents don't follow us about. We do our things. We are selfless. We can go about do our daily duties and come back safely. But realize now, some parents, even when they are writing JAM, when they are writing post-UTME and other exams, their parents follow them about. So realize that those children, they are no longer confident to do a lot of things that they're supposed to do as children, as people that are getting to adult age.
A lot of children are like traumatized from like not gentle parenting. So like, yeah, I think it's making children softer, making children like feel closer to their parents.
Some workplace leaders have also observed a rise in young employees struggling with feedback and professional expectations, attributing it to an upbringing that prioritizes validation over adaptability.
I would say they are in two sets. The ones who know, and they know that they know, and we have the sets who doesn't know but think that they know. That's the second part of the Gen Zs. So you see them applying for jobs, applying for, trying to go into an institution, and they are not so aware of what's happening there, right? But unlike the millennials, which they've always known, all they've known is, oh yes, we have to work towards what we're doing. We want to really learn, grow, and get these things done together so that we can get ourselves into that place. So they try to gather all that they need together to get into that place of job because they are ready.
As parenting styles evolve with cultural shifts, one question remains. Are we preparing the next generation for the world as it is, or the world we wish it to be? In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
Dikwa Emirate in Nigeria's northeast state of Borno has turned a new chapter with the grand coronation of the 13th Shehu of Dikwa. The grand event in Dikwa Town drew thousands of residents, traditional leaders, including the Sultan of Sokoto, government officials and dignitaries from across Nigeria, Cameroon and Chad, symbolizing a new era of peace, unity and resilience. News Central's Umari Kirawa completes the report.
Sights and sounds of the Kanuri Gangakura and gunshots of joy at the premises of the palace of the Shehu of Dikwa in the ancient Dikwa Town of Kanim Borno Empire. The coronation of the 13th Shehu is a historic event that the community could not participate in for the past 5 years.
The way that I know Dikwa, I see Dikwa for today. I can say thank you very much, God. We praise God. May God help Dikwa to finish in peace like this. Let Dikwa notuna let the kasu bunya. Rosora, Gauria, Lama, Samasoler, Lambaretin, Kamame Alaro Askriena, Neptunelepa Pendena. Now we have already get a peace in Dikwa. What is remaining for us? We need a bank, and also we have only one network. If we lose a one network, sometime 3 days or to 4 days, we don't have a network.
This is the 13th Shehu of Dikwa, Alhaji Ibrahim Ibn Umar El Kanemi, the first-class monarch that will steer the affairs of the emirate.
Before, even in the wildest of our dreams, we cannot think of coming to Dikwa with all this mammoth crowd of personalities to witness such a grand occasion. But we thank God for His mercy, benevolence, and answering our prayer for the restoration of peace in Borno State.
Life has become normal. The state government is doing its best in resettling people. In fact, in this emirate, the governor has resettled maybe 6 to 7 villages or towns, and he's continuing.
The event featured colorful cultural displays, traditional dances, and prayers for continued peace and prosperity in Dikwa Emirate and even beyond.
The government to promote and adapt my distinguished leadership will continue to give exact respect to all the traditional rulers in the state. I want to assure you that inshallah, we shall not let you down in the process of reviewing our state.
The historic coronation of the Shehu of Dikwa remains a memorable moment for the people of Dikwa, and their hope is that the relative peace they are enjoying will be sustained. In Dikwa Town Central, tomorrow.
Coming up after the break, regional leaders push for ceasefire in eastern DRC. This and more after this short break. Away from Nigeria, an uneasy calm has settled over the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after regional leaders called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire within 5 days. The Rwandan-backed M23 movement has seized significant territory in the mineral-rich east, killing thousands and displacing many more. The conflict has sparked fears of a wider war, prompting East and Southern African leaders to urge a ceasefire at a summit on Saturday. Rwandan President Paul Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi participated in the summit, with Tshisekedi joining via video link. Now, locals in Bukavu, a city in the M23 sites, remain skeptical about the prospects of lasting peace. In other news from around the world, Pope Francis has urged the faithful to pray for peace in various conflict-ridden regions around the world. During a special Mass and Angelus for the Jubilee of Armed Forces, the Pope called for prayers for peace in tormented Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, Myanmar, and throughout the Middle East. The Pope's appeal comes as a reminder of the ongoing conflicts and humanitarian crises in these regions and the need for continued prayers and efforts towards achieving peace and reconciliation.
Per la pace nella martoriata Ucraina, in Palestina, in Israele, in Myanmar, in tutto Medio Oriente.
And in sports, Lagos is preparing to host the 10th Lagos City Marathon on February 15th. The city is set to welcome its first wave of international athletes on February 13th for this Valentine's-themed race, aptly called Love in the Air. Now, this year's edition will bring together an impressive 4,000 international participants and 100 elite athletes from countries including Kenya, Ethiopia, Morocco, and France. Looking back at last year, Kenya's Bernard Sang claimed victory with a time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 49 seconds, while Ethiopia's Kebene Chala topped the women's category. Kenya has dominated this event historically, winning in 2016, 2017, 2020, and 2021. A new long jump format for long jump athletes was tested at Sunday's indoor meeting in Dusseldorf. Now, the traditional takeoff board has been replaced with a 40-centimeter takeoff zone using cameras to measure jumps from where athletes actually leave the ground. Olympic champion Malaika Mihambo, who tested the new system, landed a 6.87-meter jump using the zone method, significantly longer than her 6.39-meter measurement under traditional rules. While Mihambo expressed interest in the innovation, not everyone is on board. Track legend Carl Lewis has strongly criticized the change, arguing it would remove crucial technical skills from the sport. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe however, supports the reform, noting that 1/3 of jumps at the 2023 World Championships were invalid. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our major stories. You heard that Omagwa community of Rivers State protests alleged extrajudicial killing of its natives. We also heard that SERAP sues President Tinubu, demands prosecution of contractors involved in 167 billion naira failed projects. Finally, we told you that calm has returned to the DRC as Congolese and pro-Rwandan forces agree to a ceasefire. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.